Walter Jones, Pro Football Hall of Famer, top 100.
Tyler Lockett from the Seattle Seahawks.
DK Metcalf.
Nate Burleson. You're watching NorbCam.
NorbCam.
You're watching NorbCam.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you on this beautiful Monday afternoon. Well, it might be evening where you guys are coming from. Welcome to the NorbCam show. I like to call this the NorbCam News Hour. Not even quite an hour. This might be only like 30 minutes or so. Just to talk a little Seahawks around the horn. Welcome to all you guys who are already blowing up the chat like the sports nerd, who I know you're anxious to know when we're going to hook up your trivia. We'll get that figured out very soon, sometime this week, I would like to think. We've got Cameron Hughes, who sent me an email, a very intriguing email about a counter-argument about the points that me and a lot of other people are making about the giving up of the first-round draft picks to get Jamal Adams over here, and how we've said that the first-round picks haven't really been very good for Seattle. He has a certain counter-argument to that, which we may get into a later show, but he made some very good points. So welcome to the show, Cameron Hughes. Deepbox 101, what's up? Teresa Domingo, hello. Moss Man, Flesh Cannon, Arch Gamers, Shinoy. What's up, everybody? It was a hot one today. I was actually out and about with my daughters playing some beach volleyball today, and man, it was like 90-something. Hit like 95 today, man. This is Seattle, man. 90 degrees. It was scorching. Thank goodness I got air conditioning in this house, but even then, I still got the west sunlight hitting this room. It's with the door closed. It gets awfully hot in here. But I'm very excited to talk a little bit. This is it's always an exciting time of the year when we start getting into this feeling that football season is right around the corner. But as we all know, this is a really, really, really Twilight Zone-y, strange football season with so many things unknown right now. But we'll talk about what we do know. And the first thing is that training camp is here. Training camp begins officially tomorrow. Around the NFL, and particularly for our Seahawks here at the VMAC, just minutes away that way over by beautiful Lake Union. And those players, man, are going to be they're going to be treated to a beautiful sight. For those who have never been here to Seattle, and for those who will be seeing the training camp facility for the first time, it's one of the most gorgeous sights in all of the country. Not too many practice facilities are right on the water. And it's pretty cool. Jimmy Graham even used to fly his seaplane up to the dock and get to practice that way. Pretty cool. I see people asking about, Arch Gamers wants to know, did Clowney re-signed? We don't know yet. We don't know that yet. So much to be determined. But let's talk about what we do know. So tomorrow, it's the first day of training camp, but in this very modified special edition of training camp with all the safety protocols, really, I think the only thing they'll have accomplished by tomorrow night is they will have tested everybody, and I think all the players will have gone through their COVID testing, and hopefully we'll find out who's got it and who doesn't. Hopefully not too many have it. Jaden, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it, and if you feel like doing so, hit that subscribe button. In fact, I run my little animation here. If you like this video, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and of course the notification bell. And that way you will be notified every time I release a new video. So yeah, COVID testing for the first couple days, and then we'll see what they get into with the remaining structure. Hopefully these guys can stay relatively healthy. But some big news over the weekend. Yesterday, Sunday, the Seahawks let a whole bunch of guys go, terminated a couple of contracts for some recognizable players, and also waived a few. Shinoy, thank you for subscribing. The Seahawks players, 9 players released yesterday, including center Joey Hunt. We all remember Joey, who took over when Justin Britt got hurt. Probably the smallest center in the entire NFL. He was signed on to come back in 2020, but they just terminated his contract, as well as the defensive end, Brandon Jackson. We'd always had hopes that he would flourish into something bigger, and at this point, he's been terminated. So that's along with guard Jordan Roos, who's another name of a guy who was always kind of a backup filler type of guy who had hopes that he would eventually blossom into a starting lineman. Never really quite happened. And then a bunch of other guys, running back Patrick Carr, wide receiver Seth Dawkins, guard Khalil McKenzie. These are names I never heard of. DB Josh Norwood. I think the only time we talked about Josh Norwood was when I had a trivia question as him being the lightest guy on the team. Linebacker Sutton Smith and tight end Dominic Wood Anderson. Those are the other players who were released yesterday by the Seahawks. And so big question there is with Jordan Roos out, since he played for most of the season after Justin Britt got hurt, who's going to fill in for him? Well, we did. If you recall some of the offseason moves, we picked up B.J. Finney from the Steelers in free agency. Right now, he may be one of the players, competing for that starting center spot, along with a few other guys that we got. We did add a lot of depth to the offensive line, so we'll see how the competition plays out there for the guard position, which I'll talk about in a second. Let's talk about Quinton Dunbar, probably the most talked about Seahawk who's never been to Seattle. So much in the news about Quinton Dunbar. It had been a little bit quiet for a while with his whole criminal investigation. But at this point, the latest is that Quinton Dunbar has been placed on the NFL Commissioner's Exempt List. I like to call it the naughty list. Basically, you go there anytime you've done something not so good, and you stay there. It's like being put in timeout. He's in NFL timeout right now. But it's not the worst timeout in the world, and you'll see why. Because basically, what does it mean to be put on the NFL Commissioner's Exempt List? Well, here's what you don't get to do. You cannot practice. You can't attend any games. But upon request and with the blessing of the Seahawks, he may be present at the VMAC on a reasonable basis for meetings, individual workouts, for therapy and rehab, and other permitted non-football activities. And yes, he still gets paid. He's still getting paid, believe it or not, during all this. And Dunbar and his attorney are going to file an appeal to his being put on the naughty list of the commissioners. And to get off that list, assuming if he does not win the appeal, well, then to get off the list, the NFL has to do their own private investigation of the criminal activities that occurred, and based on what they determine, they could decide to take him off the exempt list. They could determine to give him a certain number of games suspension. But basically, it's entirely up to the NFL's investigation to decide at what point would they reinstate him back to the league. So for right now, Dunbar can be in the building. He just can't practice, and he can't play any games for the time being until we find out the results of this situation. But yes, he still gets paid, and of course, he's due to COVID-19. The court systems in Florida are like backlogged big time, so he probably won't even see the inside of a courtroom for at least a year. So that really begs the question: will it be like the Michael Kendrick situation, where despite going through this investigation, he may still have the opportunity to play football, and hopefully, obviously, as a Seahawks fan, as Seahawks fans, we all want Quinton Dunbar to be on the field playing that right corner spot, but we won't know when that's going to happen. It's really all up to the league, so we shall find out. And it's kind of the same thing with what's his name, Flash Gordon. Josh Gordon, he's also on the exempt list, waiting to get off of there and waiting for reinstatement. So again, these guys could just pop right off, and Seattle will be right there to swoop them back up and make them happen. So we'll see if that does indeed happen. But so that's the situation with Quinton Dunbar. Basically sidelined for a while, but he can kind of hang out and see what's going on. So we'll see. The other news today that just came out is the offensive lineman Chance Warmack, another player who never got his time, sort of went away before he even had a chance to get started. But Chance Warmack, offensive lineman who was picked up from the Eagles in the offseason, was a former first-rounder for the Tennessee Titans, has decided to opt out of the 2020 season. He was going to compete for that guard spot, but source says that he had some family members who had contracted COVID. One person had actually died from the disease. So he decided for himself that after taking last year off, he decided he's going to take another off and wait for this thing to pass. And so in the meantime, what that means is he has a deal that's about just under $1 million contract, non-guaranteed. But so what will happen is he's going to receive $150,000 upfront payment on his salary, and then his contract will basically carry over into 2021, where he will be a Seahawk once again after this season. So he'll be back for 2021, assuming, he's still all in for football next year. But his salary will basically be carried over, told into next year. So that's one less competition for the guard spot. So that leaves our draft pick, Damien Lewis, who he drafted in 2020. Mike Iupati, obviously kind of front runner for one of the guard spots. Jamarco Jones, who I like a lot, and Phil Haynes. These guys will all be competing for that guard position that is going to be free of Chance Warmack, since he's taken the opt-out position. At this point, so far, there have only been a handful of players who have actually opted out of the 2020 season, and those include Baltimore Ravens wide receiver DeAnthony Thomas, Kansas City Chiefs guard Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, hard to say that name, of the Chiefs. He was actually he has a medical degree, and he's been on the front line dealing with the disease, and decided he didn't want to take the risk or if he's going to be battling this, he didn't feel right doing this, playing football rather than trying to deal with this disease in the front lines in the medical side of things. So yeah, it's only been, 1, 2, 3 players now who have opted out. So no major stars that we kind of consider to be at the top upper echelon, but we'll see. I think a lot will be determined in the next few weeks of training camp. So yeah, that's it. That's kind of the latest. Of course, still enjoying this, basking in the afterglow of the Jamal Adams trade. And the more I keep looking at this thing, and I posted a couple reactions as well as reactions from Gangrene David, a Jets fan, and had Noah Boelter here to react to it as well. I think we all feel like, maybe we gave a little bit too much, maybe one extra first-round pick than we thought we were going to. But, man, when you get a chance to get someone of this caliber, pretty dang exciting to think of the possibilities. Just watching a few of his highlights, man, he can light things up, not only in pass coverage, but in run defense, but even blitzing too. It's pretty exciting to see. So can't wait to see how they decide to use them. And we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. The Seahawks announced, we already kind of knew this, but the Seahawks did officially announce that there will be no preseason games. I think that was kind of went without saying, because I think the league had already decided that in their agreement there was going to be no preseason. So it's all going to come down to that first game of the year for us down in Atlanta, down in Hotlanta in early September. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. But let's see, what questions do you guys have for me here as we wrap things up with this edition? DeMarco Ramos says, random question, till this day, why do you think they threw the ball instead of running it? Really? You wanted to go there? All right, I'll take you on. Super Bowl 49 question, one of the most easily thrown out questions. So if you want to make fun of a Seahawks fan, you just bring up Super Bowl 49. That's just like too easy of a toss. If you watch my reaction video on my channel, you'll see that, of course, like most everybody was going, give it to him again, give it to Marshawn Lynch again, that we should just line up in goal line, offensive package, go head to head, and just plow ahead and go for it. But of course, we opted to get a little tricky Bill Belichick went into goal line formation. We went into more of a spread formation. Couldn't run against that without too many linemen on the field. But the play actually could have worked. But Jermaine Kearse couldn't get through Brandon Browner to deviate the path of Malcolm Butler. So that went wrong. The pass was thrown perfectly fine. And it was just unfortunate that Ricardo Lockett didn't circle up and attack the ball. Instead, waited for it over here, which gave Malcolm Butler just that moment of opportunity to snag the ball off his outside shoulder instead of attacking the ball here, getting like a good 24 inches lead on it. And then he would have probably, if nothing else, it would have been knocked down incomplete, or maybe he catches the ball short of the goal or gets in. Either way, it wouldn't have been intercepted if he'd circled up and put his hands out here. But yeah, would have run the ball. Would have run it. Would have liked to run it. I had a super chat. Thank you very much to, where'd he go? Blake Morissette. Thank you. He says, hey, man. I was looking forward to see a question from you, but just, hey, man, what's up? Thanks for the super chat. I truly appreciate your support. So PJ Myers wants to know, do you like Clowney more than Everson Griffin? That's a good question. You can throw Ngakoue into that whole mix of any of those three. I mean, I'd be happy to get any three of those guys. I've been saying all along, I think Clowney's going to come back here. People think I'm crazy. They keep saying, oh, no, Clowney's done. He's not coming back. That's over. I still think there's a good chance that he ends up here after all the dust settles, all the deals, all the teams saying that they're going to pick him up and all the speculation. I think he ends up right back in here. And Seattle making these moves to clear out some of these contracts and roster spots starts making me think that, there might still be a door crack open in there. So I'm going to stick with my guns and say I would not be surprised. And I'm excited to share the I told you so when that day finally happens. Let's see. People are asking about the AB situation. Yeah, he retired, then he unretired. And that guy's crazy, man. I still think it'd work out to have him do his situation where he, Seattle gets him late in the season and just throws him into the mix at the end. So we'll see, but he's got a whole mess of his own problems to deal with right now. 12th man Zag, what do you think the Hawks' record will be this season? I'm going to say that in my music prediction video, which I got to get cracking on. I got to get songs, go through the songs that a bunch of you guys submitted, put my list together. I got to start writing and recording and all that stuff in time for, hopefully, what will be the regular season. So we shall see how that goes. But yeah, I'll say it's going to definitely be less than a perfect season, but greater than 10-6. So there's only a few potential options in there. So we'll see. Liquid Swords. Clowney is chasing the money. Why he told Bradley to tell Jets come get him. We should get Griffin. Look, if he was chasing the money, he had opportunities to get the money from Cleveland. So I don't think he is chasing the money. What I do think, though, look, just because somebody says, come get me in a text or yelling it through a locker room or whatever, doesn't mean that they're necessarily mean that that's what they want to have happen. They're playing the game here. They're playing the leverage game situation. Because obviously what Clowney wants to do, he wants to get as many suitors as possible. Just like if you're bidding up in an auction, right? Clowney, all right, we got Clowney on the block. Let's hear it. We got 13 million. Oh, it's 14. Okay, 14 million, 50 million. 50. We have 16 over here, 16 over here, 17 over here. So I would like to think he's trying to get the best deal that he can. so he has as many choices as you can, and obviously he wants the bid to get as high as possible, and leverage those other bidders to get from the team that he really wants to have, which I still think he wants to come back to the Seahawks. He just wants to get the most out of that deal possible. He doesn't want to just settle for the first deal that the Seahawks threw at him. They want him to like sweeten the pot a couple $1 million. I think potentially all the teams that are thrown out there, really do you think he wants to go to the Jets after they just lost their all-pro safety? Do you really think he wants to go there on a team that probably is still looking to rebuild? Obviously, we'll be really rebuilding big time when they get those first-round draft picks coming up in the next couple of years. But this year, you really think that he wants to be on a winner? You think that's the Jets? I don't think so. Blake Morissette says, yo, I can't wait till your music vid, and I also think that we will get Clowney. All right, high five. That's two of us. So we'll see what happens there, but I would not be surprised, man. I still think there's a good possibility that he could end up here. Drillo lives in Manila. All right. Kumusta ka? Thanks for watching all the way from the Philippines. It must be like, is it like early morning over there? Must be early morning over there. Sky High Aviation, Norb, respond to me emails, dude. All right. We are going to be doing our next roundtable Wednesday at about 5 o'clock this Wednesday. So put that in on your calendars. Moving from our Thursday time back to Wednesday, and I'm going to actually have Noah the Boelter is going to be in studio with me, right beside me here. We got to figure out how we're going to social distance, put some kind of thing between us or something. But he's going to be here inside my studio in person to join me as he's heading off to Wazoo very soon. He's going to come over, and I'm going to show him a few little tricks of running the live stuff here, so that when he goes to Wazoo, he can do the same thing over there. So I'm looking forward to having him in person, and hopefully joined by Cal and Martin and our special guest as well, winner of last week's returning winner from last week's trivia. So going to be fun this Wednesday show. What else we got here? We can't really say Ursua is overrated because he only really got one catch. Yeah, I want to see Ursua do something. He's got a lot of competition right now. Will they let Josh Gordon back in? Asked Zaid. It's all up to the commish. I think at some point he will be available this year, and I think Seattle will pick him up when he comes off that list. Seattle's a perfect place for him, so I think they will. Sports Nerd, what's this thing about my middle name? Okay, let me rephrase the question. How was Chrysostomo chosen as your middle name? People are trying to get to the origin of Chrysostomo. Chrysostomo! Yeah, that's right. Oh, he's talking about me. Where the name came from. That's a good, that'll be a good trivia question. I'm going to have to save that for later. I think you guys do already know that is my middle name. I'm not sure if there's much else to really talk about. That's where the name comes from. That's my middle name. So, do you think they'll get a different cornerback because of Dunbar? Domino's Chiz. I'm going to think that this might go the Michael Kendrick route. Like I said, this court thing is delayed too long. I think Dunbar gets some games suspended, but I feel like he's going to play sometime in 2020. That's why I don't think Seattle will release him. I think they're going to keep him. He'll be on that list for a while, and he might get slapped with a few game suspension, but I think he's going to come back here and play. So Trey Flowers is going to have to earn it. Trey Flowers right now is the default starter. Let's see, what else? Rohan. Oh, there's Rohan insulting my hair again. Rohan, stay hiding that greased up hair under the cap. No, this is the non-greased up hair. I've been out sweaty in the 90-something degree weather, and I was too lazy to put gel in my hair, so I just got to throw the cap on here. So that's what it is. That's what it is, baby. And I reserve the right to put a cap on every once in a while, especially with the one that says Super Bowl champions, baby. Super chat. Nick LaBow says, I've heard a few rumors of us signing a defensive tackle. What are your thoughts on a potential Tim Jernigan or Damian Harrison to the Hawks? I have not heard that rumor. It is a position that we've talked about that everything on the defensive line could use definitely an upgrade. I'll have to do a little bit more checking in on that to see if there's some truth to the rumor, but we'll have to talk about that at the next show. We need depth. We need guys. We've addressed that offensive line side with a lot of bodies in there, but really not so much on the defensive side of things. And we've lost a couple over the offseason, of which really haven't really addressed. So I think that would be a great move if you can pick up one of those guys. Sky High Aviation. Norb, what time is the call for trivia tomorrow? It's not tomorrow. We're doing it on Wednesday. Wednesday at 5 o'clock p.m. So tomorrow might just be a regular show, but we're going to do the trivia and roundtable on Wednesday. Aiden Reynolds wants to know, what do you think about the Clowney to the Jets thing? I just talked about that one. Like I said, there's a lot of posturing. I really don't think Clowney wants to go to the Jets. Maybe he's hoping that they'll do some blockbuster deal since now they've got, they got some money to shell out there, but I really don't think he wants to play there. Like I said, I still think that he's going to come back here. All of a sudden, when it's all dust is settled, the Clowney will come back to Seattle. And I'll be the only one saying, I told you so. So we'll see. Zaiz, on my NFC side is Seattle, New Orleans, Cowboys, Packers, 49ers, Eagles, Cardinals, or Rams. What's yours, Norb? Are you talking about the finish? Is that the order of finishing in the NFC? I love the Seattle side at number 1. New Orleans 2, maybe. Cowboys 3, 4, Packers, 49. I think 49ers would be higher on that list. Eagles, Cardinals, or Rams. I definitely think all those guys are going to be contending. For some reason, you forgot Tampa Bay in there. I think Tampa Bay has got to be thrown into the mix there. But, yeah, I think Seattle, New Orleans, definitely 49ers, Packers and Cowboys and Bucs. Some combination thereof are going to be vying for playoff positioning spots. Eric Kopork wants to know about what's your thoughts on the Marlins news. They're talking about the Marlins players getting tested for COVID. And the MLB says they're going to continue with their. They're not going to cancel the season, but they did cancel a couple of games that were supposed to happen with the. I think it was the Yankees. I don't know. It's watching the MLB play out. It's going to be sort of a preview as to what's going to happen with the NFL. If these things start getting more out of control and more guys keep getting contracting the virus to a point where they can't continue with games, they keep having to cancel them eventually to a point where it's like too many teams getting it, then I don't see how this is going to bode well for the NFL in a game where, look at the difference. If you're having a hard enough time controlling it in baseball, where really there's minimal contact between players, how close do you really get to other players? The pitcher's all on the mound by himself. Everybody's on their positions. Pretty much the only time you ever get close to them is players at the base, and I guess the catcher and the batter. But first base, you got the first baseman holding the runner right there. For the rest of the time, these guys are spread out. Football, you're hugging, grabbing, tackling, jumping on these guys. Face mask, face shield or not. You're just a spit and all kinds of stuff flying everywhere. So I just don't see how if it's gonna get if it gets worse in baseball, I can't see it getting any better with football, because football is even much more face-to-face contact sport for sure. Rohan says, Should I actually try to win a Kahoot again? He says, now that I've already won, I'm just here to troll. Should my next username be a new tree snore or crushed seashells? What about deked out of 200? Is that right? Deked out of 200? You're a very funny man. You're a very funny man. But, hey, man, just enjoy that Super Bowl hangover, man, and we'll see how the season goes. What are your thoughts on the Seattle Kraken NHL team name? It's funny. There's a lot of people who hate it. I'm not an NHL guy. I think if I was more into NHL, I'd probably have a little bit more opinion on the name. I think it's kind of cool what the Kraken is, you know, having this sea monster thing with tentacles and stuff like that. It's kind of a cool logo. I like the logo. As far as the Kraken, the only thing is with the Kraken is it's just the fact that you can make so many crack jokes, right? I mean, that's say no to crack house, crackheads, all that stuff. But I remember, it reminds me of when the iPad first came out. Remember how much crap the Apple got for naming it the iPad? People were just all over, blowing it up about how terrible of a name, laughing and making fun of it. But after a while, the dust settled, and now nobody thinks about it. Hey, I'll take my iPad. Let me hook up my iPad. I'm going to play on my iPad today. And everyone kind of got over it. I thought when New Orleans changed their name from the Hornets to the Pelicans, I thought, what the hell, the Pelicans? What kind of name is that? I mean, what kind of, is that supposed to, aren't team names supposed to create some sense of fear and intensity? And Pelicans? Don't they just have like a big beak and they swallow fish whole? I mean, that's kind of their big thing. But there they are. There they are. So, you know, I think there have been worse names. It's just funny how you just kind of get used to them. I remember somebody was asking me, what's a Packer? What is a Green Bay Packer? And what does it do? You know? And, you know, and what's a Brown for that matter, right? I mean, if you don't really know the history of these team names, they don't always make a lot of sense. But Packers, it kind of goes back to the town that it was, and the industry that they created. A lot of people who are packing the goods, they were the Packers, right? But if you made a name right now called the Packers, you'd be like, what kind of idiot, stupid name is that? Unix Format says, with all the COVID unknowns, wouldn't it be nice if the NFL could create a live stream license? Perhaps build a special section for streamers? Thoughts? I'd love that. I'd love to have a special exempt rules where I can, use some of that footage and put it into the video. Look, it's probably even worse now. The fact that they know that nobody can go to games, they know that everyone's going to have to watch them. So what do you think people are going to do? That many more eyeballs looking for where they can see the game on a screen. And, of course, they want to chop up every paying dollar from anybody who's going to have to do that. So probably even more, they'll be on high patrol, making sure that nobody is illegally streaming these games. It's kind of like the Super Bowl, right? During the Super Bowl, man, you got a stream going illegally the game, they shut you right down. So, yeah, I got to go out 2 minutes here because we're going to watch a family movie tonight. Introduced my kids to the movie The Shining last night. Classic 1980 horror film by Stanley Kubrick with Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall. And we're going to watch the sequel to that, which I saw when it came out a couple years ago, Dr. Sleep. Going to watch that while it's fresh on our minds. Man, watching The Shining was, I hadn't seen it in a long time. I just remembered all the scenes that I would watch over and over again. But watching it again, it's like, that's a really bizarre movie. It's hard to make sense. My kids definitely were confused as to what... I don't get it. Who are those people in there? Yeah, you have to check it out. A couple more things before I got to fly off. Oh, the Sportsman just sent the link in my trivia to you. All right, I'll look for it. I won't cheat. I won't cheat and look at the answers or anything, but I'll look for the Kahoot sent to me. Ricky wants to say, where do you rate our secondary? Well, if we have Quinton Dunbar on the field playing, I rated a 9 out of 10, baby. I think it looks really good. Quinton Dunbar, On the right side, Quandre Diggs, free safety. Jamal Adams at strong safety. Then Shaquille Griffin on the left side. Yeah, I like that a lot. All right, last one. Then I got to run. Xavier Montenegro. This Dunbar situation isn't too bad. Either he gets suspended and we cut him and free $3 million, or Roger lets him play. Yeah. Got a little bit of a gambling game there. Okay. Anyway, that's it. I got to run. But thank you guys for jumping on for a few minutes with me. Talk a little football and talk a little bit of other things too as well. Again, we'll be doing this on Wednesday with the roundtable at 5 o'clock p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'll probably do another video tomorrow just to kind of, a little training camp look in the first day. Jahazil, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate it. But yeah, we'll talk about the first day of camp, see if any interesting news comes out of that, and any other NFL news that might break between now and Wednesday. But until then, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the chats. And Norberto, I hope you sent me an email. I did. I want you on the show. And so we'll make it happen. Send me that email, norb@norbcam.com, because I've been looking for it. I'm not running from you. Just need to find your info, get that Skype address so we can make this thing happen. Know what I'm saying? All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Go Hawks.